Hello everybody and welcome back to SkySaga Alpha 9. It is time for another building episode and we are over here at the Wastelands build. So for those of you who don't know what the Wastelands build is, because it has been a little while since we've been here, this is the Wastelands build. This is my attempt at building up an adventure style build. So we start off, we have a little airship tucked away under here. So we've got our nice little kind of pseudo unbreakable blocks down here. Got a nice little destroyed house, and then we've got a main location built into a canyon, and then currently have 3 side quests. So we've got a boneyard, a destroyed tower, and a smuggler's den over here. So today we're going to be finishing off the smuggler's den and hopefully packing in as much of the groundwork around here as I can possibly do. This place needs a lot more gravel going down, as you can see. Even the main pad is not quite finished yet. There are areas over here and areas over here that still don't have gravel in them. Some of them aren't ever going to get gravel, so like these chunks through the middle here probably aren't going to get gravel. I might even leave that patch down that way as well, but a lot of this stuff over here is going to be gravelified as we go through. And then I think the one thing I want to do is, after we've got this guy over here done, the smuggler's den, we're actually going to build up a kind of hill section over here. So you can see I've left these big holes cut out here so that we can actually build up some kind of mountains and mountain range type stuff. The other thing we need to do, obviously, for this guy as well, is we need to build the exit. So far the exit currently just like ends up here, but the aim is to kind of snake it over this way and then have it end up connecting to a cave. It comes out over here somewhere, but we'll have to see how the whole like mountain building thing goes before we actually work out where that cave goes. Now, I have started on the final bits and pieces for this place. So along the side here, we've got a whole bunch of Lumostone. This is going to be for a flickering lighting effect. And I just need to quickly go and collect up a few bits and pieces. Now, my thing is over here somewhere, my crafting room. There is a crafting room somewhere around here. Aha, there it is. And that should get me all of the stone chunks that I crafted. So the bandit crafting room in the main area is actually kind of sort of accessible from underneath. So every now and again I fly in under there to collect the things I want. So in this case it's some ash stone chunks, because we're going to make some Lumo lights to kind of almost look like fluoro lights in the main area in there. But they're not actually going to be lit up properly. They're going to be in sets of 3 and not lit up. And then I'm also going to run some Lumostone through them to have them flicker but not actually turn on. So this is a 40-second or 40.5-second timer, and then this is a setup very similar to the lightning rig that we built in one of the tutorials, except for I'm only taking outputs at 4 points along this system, and we're going to hook those up to the light output. So let's grab some lights out and take a look at that. So here we go. I've started looking a little bit at the lighting around here. So if we turn around, up here we have one row of fluorescents. Now I've had to put some metal blocks across the top, because if I break one of these things out, you'll see that the lights actually don't have a base texture, which just gets a little bit weird. So I added in the iron blocks just to kind of make everything right. Now the reason that I've done that is because not only have we got a set here, we've also now got a set broken down on the floor. So the aim here is to have like this is almost like a piece of broken ceiling, and then these are the lights that have fallen down from up above here. So I'm actually going to take some chunks out of the ceiling up here as well, and I'm probably going to scatter some more brown stone and bits and pieces, just kind of like rubbish around the place, make it actually look like the thing has broken and fallen and yeah, just like gotten everywhere pretty much. That's not quite where I want that block, but that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it look like this is actually broken and died essentially, and that things have fallen from the ceiling and kind of crashed down on top of this. So anyway, that's what I'm going for. This is going to be the one that flickers too, so the one that's going to be hooked up to the system that is outside. So I haven't actually hooked the system together. The little timing circuit is currently together, so this one here actually does cycle round and round and round. but I haven't actually yet hooked that through into the rest of the circuit. But we'll do that a little bit later on. First I want to try and get this this section done. Now the one thing that is troubling me right now is that I don't have any of the chain recipes. I've only got this chain recipe, which is why that has already been used. If it wasn't for that, then I would be normally using the normal chain recipe, and I would obviously be using that chain recipe over here as well. But yeah, don't have any of those at the moment, so we're going to have to do something else, I guess. Anyway, so we're going to, I think the next thing is going to link these up, and I'm going to see if that timing system seems too short, too long, if it seems just about right. We'll kind of tweak it and change it from there. Finish off the lighting in here without the chains, obviously, and then head on over and start doing the graveling, because that is going to be the next big project for this build. Here we go! So now I've got everything all linked together. We've actually linked the timing circuit down in through this giant run of AND gates at the top here. Now one thing I have found out by watching this thing run around a couple of times is that this little thing here is too quick. Like, the delay between these two things is way too quick, so you don't actually see the difference between those two pulses, but you do see the difference between these two pulses and those two pulses, which is good. So where are we up to? Oh, we're about to hit the actual time that this thing goes off, which is kind of unfortunate because we're not inside, but we're about to head inside because this place is now pretty much done, I want to say. I'm also going to put the miner's helmet on just so that you guys can see what's going on in here, because it is pretty dark even during the daytime, which is quite an achievement really. So this is obviously our little like storage area, and we've got lots of like plates and bowls and pots and all sorts of that type of stuff in here. Got the back wall shelf and the skull that I left there for some reason, and we've got our little like camp out area, our little like bandit sleeping quarters, I guess is what I really decided to call this guy. And then up through here, of course, we are just using up a little bit of time waiting for this guy to be ready to fire again. Oh, there it goes. And I missed it, so we're gonna have to quickly do that again. But we're just gonna take the helmet off here. You can see I am kind of doing the lighting a little weirdly in here. So we've got these guys over here, and then this is where this stuff has fallen out of. So that's the idea, is that it's supposed to have like mangled the ceiling as it's come crashing down, and I've broken some stuff and just left things a little bit messy. Also, I want to put some more kind of wreckage down around the place, making it look like there have been a couple of extra barrels that have been hit and destroyed in the intervening chaos, I guess is what I'm going to say here. So just pick this guy up and place that guy, I think. And we missed it again. So I'm going to have to keep going around and show you some stuff, and then we'll head back and we'll probably just sit here and wait for it. So this is obviously the start, and I'm not really sure what I want to do with that. I think I'm going to leave that there for the time being, but it does need to be changed eventually. And I have the boots of placing on. I keep forgetting about the boots of placing and placing blocks down. But it should be almost time for this guy to go off again. So I'm just going to sit in here and wait for this thing to go off. Now, it is the only thing that's going to go off in this room. I decided that the lights that are up behind me, I'm not going to have go off as well. I just want these ones going off, just because I really want the impression that they're broken. And there you go. That's the little sequence that happens, and it happens very, very intermittently. I could also add some extra delays out there to make it happen even longer time intervals. But I really, like I said, I really want this place to feel abandoned. So I'm really hoping that that is enough, and I don't really want to add too much more light to this build. And yeah, leaving it broken and kind of flashing intermittently is always the plan here. I've also added a set of swords down the bottom here because those were on sale a little while ago, and they're really, really cool. So yeah, that's about it for down in here. I think this smuggler's den is now done. That's going off, I think, a little bit too fast. I might add a couple of extra 10 seconds delays to that before I move on and do other things. But I like the broken ceiling. I need to get the chain recipe so I can finish off the chain work over here. But other than that, this guy is pretty much done. We do need to build the cave that goes out behind this guy, but that is probably going to be done in next week's episode. We're going to now go ahead and do a lot more graveling around here, and I think I want to do like a mountain range over top of this guy, so that's kind of what I'm working towards here at the moment. But then over this side, over where the boneyard is, I kind of want to do a little bit of a valley. So I've got a little bit of gravel going on down here, and we're going to try and do like a little valley wall down to here and then up to there, I think. And then I'm not really sure about the rest of this place. It's going to be a lot of terraforming that has to happen. So I'm going to go into a couple of worlds and a couple of adventures and just look at how everything generates normally and naturally with the world generator, and see how much of that I can actually mimic in this build. But I think the hill and the valley are definitely going to be the bits that we want to get done first and foremost. Here we go. The hill is coming along quite well, as you can see here. It's actually it's progressed quite a lot faster than I thought it was going to. Obviously there's a few holes in it, as you can see. That's just because of the way I've been creating this thing. So basically what I've been doing is I have been walking around with the boots of placing on and just kind of aimlessly wandering almost. I've got like a vague form that I'm trying to stick to, but I'm kind of just like wandering around all over the place and kind of wandering back again, and you know, not really paying too much attention to where I am and where I'm going, and I end up with kind of nice little rings around the place. And then when I go to step up, all I do is I just step up to the next one and then kind of sort of do the same thing, just kind of like aimlessly wander around, hopefully inside the same shape that I created before. And as you can see, we get nice little like patterns going on. Now I really probably should step this up as well, go up to about there. So once I've kind of created my little rings, I then start going back and filling them in. This is the step I'm up to right now. I haven't actually gone back with the other ones and started filling them in, as you could see by the huge amount of holes that were absolutely everywhere when you saw that little piece over there. But I'm going through and doing that now. So this process is actually pretty easy, and when you're doing a natural build like this is a really good way of doing it, or at least that's what I feel, because as you can see, I've got all sorts of like weird kind of block stacks and like vertical rises and horizontal slopes and slumps and all that kind of stuff, and it just looks a little bit more natural and less built up because I'm not really thinking about these things as I'm placing them down. I'm just kind of like aimlessly wandering and letting the blocks place wherever they're going to fall, essentially. So that way, when you end, like I said, you end up with something that looks a little bit more natural. It does mean that you then have to go around and do what I'm doing here and fill in any spaces that you've missed or whatever you want to do with those. For me, I'm just gonna chuck a couple of blocks where I need them to make sure that the spaces are full. But I'm gonna do that like as you can see, some of them are going in the hole and some of them are covering the hole. It just depends on what I feel like at the time. Realistically, I mean that's the whole point of doing something like this. You've got to try and avoid thinking about building something symmetrical or really thinking too hard about block placement, because when you think about it, the algorithm that generates worlds really does not think about these things. It just kind of generates a random number, obviously with a set of parameters, and then goes, yep, sure, we'll put a block there, or no, we won't. So to mimic that type of system, you just need to be relatively random and place blocks wherever you feel like they're going to be the best suited. So nicely in there, I reckon. So as you can see, this is now starting to get a little bit more filled out and look a little bit better. But as you can see here, I am starting to run out of gravel again. So that entire rucksack of gravel has pretty much all been used up just in kind of filling out the pad here and starting on this hill. So probably going to need somewhere between 3 and 4 full chests of gravel, full double chests of gravel I should say, to actually fill out and finish off this guy, because the amount of actual room in a buildable island is pretty huge. It's like 180 by 180 or 192 by 192. I think that's the case. So the last time I calculated it out, it was a couple of double chests worth of block to just do it like a full layer from corner to corner, filling out all the space in between. So we're going to need all of that that amount of block at some point in the near future, just to fill this whole thing out with gravel, and then probably more, because as you can see, I am overlaying blocks, and there are blocks kind of stacked on top of each other like this, and I'm missing blocks here and there. So I'm probably going to need, definitely 4 stacks at least, 4 double chests at least of gravel. And we'll see how we go from there. So once I've kind of filled in all of the holes around here, I'm going to start filling in the top layer. Now, I've created these extra little rings. So we've got an extra ring here, an extra ring there, one really big extra ring in the middle here, and another smaller extra ring over there, and then we've got this little uprise as well. Everything else is going to be filled in at this height level. Well, I say that, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough blocks to do all of that, but I'm going to try anyway. We need to actually put the block boots on before we start moving. But yeah, so we're going to fill in most of everything else kind of at this height and see what we can do. And then we're going to fill all of those other rises in with blocks and things as I go through. Now this guy here needs to have a dip down to that level. So we're probably going to take this level to about here and then have a dip down. So we're going to need another little bump off this way, just like that. Now we can fill in all of this space that I've just carved out with gravel blocks. But as you can see, these gravel blocks are really not going to last me all that much longer here. They aren't they're going to run out, so I'm going to probably have to go and get some more. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that in today's episode because I am going to run out of time to record all of this stuff if I actually have to go off and get some more blocks as well. So not really sure what I'm going to do about that, but yeah, you can see that they're running out really quick. So I'm going to finish off what I'm doing here, trying to finish this place out and use up all the gravel blocks I have, and we'll see what happens next. And with that, all of my gravel is now gone. So I have tried to focus on getting the path set up to get to the actual entrance to this place, so that when I republish this, you can actually get down to the entrance of this guy and make it all the way through into here. So that's what I kind of focused on. As you can see, I got all of the graveling done around here. Got the nice little dip for the actual adventure itself. Just got everything else a little bit more sorted and ready to go. So now I am completely out of gravel. I'm probably going to put a little post on the forum and ask people for some help with some gravel, because yeah, like I said, it's going to be about 4 double chests worth of gravel that I need, so any little bit will help. So yeah, have a look out on the forums for that one. And yeah, so I'm thinking that now we're actually going to do something a little bit different, and I want to throw down some trees, or some dead trees around here, starting actually over by the entrance to this place, because once again, this is kind of slightly, mostly kind of sort of inspired by a scene from Pirates of the Caribbean where Captain Jack Sparrow looks for rum and the rum is not there, but oh sorry, the rum is there, but then it gets burnt. Anyway, that is completely not important. What I'm trying to do here is build up some kind of dead looking spindly trees. I think we're going to go for, so maybe we'll go for a little bit of a break and a bit of a fracture in this tree, something like that, and then we'll have kind of a branch slash arm like going this way, and we'll go up over here as well. There we go. So like I said, I want to keep the idea of being dead and just decayed alive in this place. So all of the trees are just going to be white or grey wood, and just all kind of spindly and either no leaves or black leaves. I'm not sure which one of those I'm going to go for yet. But first I'm going to need to go through and actually get some black leaves. It's one thing that I haven't done yet. So these trees are actually kind of a bit of a rebuild of something I've done in the past. Built an Alice in Wonderland theme build ages and ages ago now on this channel. And one of the things I did in there was some dead trees as well. So a bit of a throwback to that, as it were. I think that one's alright now. I actually kind of want to lower that branch there. There we go. That's a little bit better. That is not too bad. I think that's going to probably need a little bit of tweaking, but not too much tweaking. And I think I'm going to throw kind of dead trees a little bit everywhere around here, but not too often. So once again, I'm thinking of an actual adventure. Now, the closest adventure there is at the moment to this place would be the desert. Now, the desert has cactuses just everywhere, and I really don't want to do that. I kind of want to have these almost as rare as locations. So maybe have like 8 or 9 scattered around the place, but no more than that, because this is supposed to be, yeah, very sun-scorched and dead, and having too many trees around the place is going to completely destroy that illusion. So something I don't want to do with all of that. Also, why did I go through the front there? I could just go straight through the sidewall. But yeah, also I need to double check and make sure I can actually get up to that guy, because I keep forgetting there's a chest all the way up the top there, and I keep adding things to this build, and I'm not sure if you can still get all the way up to the top if you're working by foot. So let's see if we can do that really quick. It's going to be a little bit of a jumping challenge because it's not really supposed to be jumped. Aha, there you go, perfect. So there is actually a way up there. There's at least one way up. Haven't made it impossible. Damn, that wasn't what I was trying to do, because originally the way through was back up through that way, and I think I blocked that off accidentally at one point. So we need to get up to there and across. Perfect. So there is, yeah, like I said, there is a way to get all the way up to this floating island. Beautiful. So yeah, I think this is actually where I'm going to end today, because the next thing that needs to happen is really just getting lots more gravel. So that's something that I'm going to do off camera once again, because I mean I collected all of this gravel off camera because it's not really all that interesting with sitting there watching me collect a whole bunch of gravel. So I know that this episode has been a little bit shorter, but I'm quite happy with what we've got done. So next episode we're going to look through at building the cave system over here, hopefully finishing off this graveling and adding a few more trees around the place, and that should, fingers crossed, be the end of this build, and then we can move on and do some more interesting and awesome and exciting builds that I have stored away in my head. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed that one, and I will see you in the next video.